Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about Lambda functions in Python and we will explain how to apply Lambda functions to map function, filter function and to Pandas DataFrames. Okay, so in Python Lambda functions are anonymous functions that are usually defined without explicit names. We can also name them, of course. They can take many arguments, however they can only return a single expression. And they're often used with other functions such as map, filter, and in Pandas also data frame structures. Here's the code I wrote that introduces Lambda functions. So first of all, I will import two libraries, NumPy library and Pandas. Then let us say that I want to define an ordinary function for incrementing a value. I can do that by just defining this function increment value, and I'm returning the value of x plus 1. So let's define this function. And then we can simply call this function by typing increment value, let's say 2. The result is of course 3. Okay, another way to do that is to invoke Lambda functions. So here is the equivalent way of incrementing, let's say, an integer by 1 by using Lambda functions. So here I'm defining a Lambda function. Here's the keyword Lambda. X is basically the variable or the argument, and here's the return value. So I'm returning x plus 1. And over here I'm specifying the argument directly. So in this definition or declaration, you're basically immediately giving the argument, and this expression actually should return 3. So this is the basic usage of Lambda functions. Again, you specify Lambda keyword, you specify the variable or the argument, and then you specify the expression that you will return. Now, this is an anonymous function. However, I can also name the Lambda function. For example, I can say double value is equal to lambda x 2 times x. So the expression will be, the return expression will be 2 times x, and I can execute this simply by typing this code line, and I obtain 8. Another nice property of Lambda functions is that they can accept 2 input arguments. So here I'm defining a Lambda function that takes x and y and returns a linear function of x and y. So I'm going to return x plus 2 times y. And here I specify the argument for x and argument for y. So the return expression, again, is a single expression. However, the function, the Lambda function, can have 2 arguments. So let's execute this and see the result. So here is our result. Of course, it's 6. Of course, we can name this function with 2 arguments, and we can also call it. So here is the result. Another nice property of Lambda functions is that we can include conditional statements. So here basically I have 2 arguments and I'm returning basically double if the second argument is a string equal to double, or I'm returning a triple if the second argument is equal to triple string. Otherwise I basically return x. So if I specify any other string that's not equal basically to double or triple, I'm going to return simply x. So let's see how this thing works. So here is my double. If I specify a double, and here I will change this, and here I will say triple. Here's the result. The result is 6. And if I specify anything else, I will get the value of x. Now, we can also use Lambda function with other functions, such as filter function, for example. Here I'm defining a list of numbers, and let's say that from this list I want to form a new list that will only take the entries over the original list that are smaller than 9. We can simply use the filter function, and inside of the filter function we can define a Lambda function, lambda x, where x is smaller than 9, and we return the list. So here's the result. And if you print the list, you'll see that the result is correct. Then we can use lambda functions with the map function. Basically, let's say that we want to double the entries of a list 1. So we're going to use the map function. And as the first argument of the map function, we are going to define a lambda function, and we'll say lambda x 2 times x. So what will happen over here, this map function will iterate and will go over the entries of list 1, and it will double the entries of list 1. So let's see how this works in practice. Here's map 1 list, and here's the result. The entries are double. Maybe the true power of lambda functions lies in the fact that we can use them with Pandas DataFrames. So let's illustrate that. So what you can see over here is basically a simple dictionary that I defined, and if you now print this dictionary, you'll see that it has basically 2 keys and has some values there. So then I'm going to define a data frame from this dictionary. So here's my data frame, and I can print it out. Basically, data frame has 2 columns corresponding to these rows of our dictionary. And let's manipulate the entries of this dictionary by using the map function. So let's say that I want to include a new column in my original data frame that will be equal to second column times 2. So the entries of the second column will be doubled in the third column. I can simply write something like this. So what do? I select the second column, or data 2, it's called data 2, and I call a map function on the entries of this column. And inside of the map function, I'm basically calling the lambda, or actually defining and calling the lambda function, and I'm just doubling the entries. And at the end, the result will be again another column, and I will simply name this column as data tree. So let's see what happens. And here's our result. Here's our data tree. Okay, so let's now basically include a conditional statement. I will take the entries of the column 2 and I will double them if they're positive. If they're not positive, I will assign a 0 to new entries. So let's see how this thing works. Now my data frame should have a new column, and you can see that this column is basically doubled of the second column, and if the entries in the second column are 0, actually smaller than 0, we have assigned 0 entries to the corresponding values in the fifth column, or actually the data 5 column. Another approach, of course, is to use the apply function. So we can basically do the apply function, and we are defining another column with the entries that are going to be 3 times the entries of the column equal to data 2. So let's execute this and let's see the final result. So here's our final result. Okay, that will be all for today. I hope that you like this video. If you like the videos that I create, please subscribe or support my channel. Thank you very much and have a nice day.